Alright, how's it going, everybody? I'm going to start a little segment because it's kind of fun. Looking through the RPG horror stories, so we'll have to edit this later, I guess. But just reading through and let's see what we find and offer some commentary on how to handle these situations. First one, DM starts the campaign nice but progressively becomes unhinged. This happened over the course of several months, but I'll aim to summarize as best I can. About 2.5 years ago, I, NB30, started a campaign, my first campaign, with DM M50 and a group of 4 other people, all male ages 35 to 45, so adults. At the start, all is going well. Group is having a lot of banter and the inside jokes are building fast in a group of rogue bard, fighter druid, artificer. Artificer and I knew each other and were friends prior to game. I'm interested in learning how to DM, so I strike a friendship with the DM and we start talking about potentially running the next campaign as co-DMs. Progressively, however, I noticed that the DM is playing favorite with the fighter. The fighter can make jokes, often harassy in nature, that are amusing, but jokes by the artificer or me are frustrating and almost immediately shut down. Out of combat stuff, the fighter comes up with needs to involve the whole party, including a joke about following my druid around and not giving an inch of privacy to disrupt something I had explicitly said I wanted to do on my own. While anything not pertinent to the main quest is dismissed for Artificer and me, my druid loses a crucial piece of equipment during an important fight and it takes 3 months to replace it with something equally powerful, while the others gain 2 equipment upgrades in that same time, the old item fight, putting me at a deficit in combat compared to the rest of the party. Artificer leaves the group due to changes in work schedules and was replaced by a friend of the DM's, a barbarian. With the arrival of Barbarian, the DM gets more and more aggressive in his DMing, placing us in fights and puzzles increasingly elaborate and getting audibly frustrated. We would play over Discord VC. If we weren't getting the solution to the puzzle quick enough and regularly telling us that we needed to take the game seriously, and that now was the time that maybe we would die. That last part would make him feel excited and wasn't discussed beforehand. I don't know if you're supposed to discuss your own death before it happens, and I also had explicitly expressed multiple times that I wasn't interested in the permadeath of my character. Well, this is kind of a modern, like, you're not allowed to die. I mean, if you've talked about it from the beginning and they said there's not going to be any permadeath, that's one thing, but if you're just angry, well, let's keep reading. I was starting to get scared of the DM at this point. This is an online game, right? Or was it? No, I guess it's a live game. With the arrival of the DM gets more aggressive in his DMing. I was starting to get scared of the DM, both because it was starting to become increasingly obvious the game was getting out of hand, and because I could no longer recognize my friend. Then everything came to a halt one night where the DM, fighter, and barbarian joined in on a joke to make fun of me for wanting a killer whale wild shape for my druid. DM was restricting which wild shapes I could and couldn't use. I mean, killer whale's pretty intense. I mean, I don't know what level you are, but that's pretty hardcore. I mean, you probably need to be at least close to level 10 for a killer whale. Laughing at everything my character had done in the campaign the past few weeks and overall being obnoxious, I got tired of this whole boys will be boys mentality at that point and decided to leave the group. I mean, it seems like they are playing favorites, but maybe you're lame. Quite frankly, seems like you're pretty lame and maybe annoying too, and that's probably what's missing from this story. I'm just gonna say, but if you're not having a good time in a game, just fucking leave. That's fine. Like, you don't owe them anything. You told them I'm not having a good time and they still fuck with you, well, they probably don't like you very much. I don't like you very much, just from the but I don't know, that's it. That's all there is to that. I don't know. It seems like you're a lot of complaining, and maybe I'm sure there's not. This is your perspective, and there's more to the story. But either way, if they are picking on you, then leave the game. That's all you need to do there. Okay, let's do another one. I, player, break up with other player. DM sexually assaults and tortures player's character. Some background. DM, female 30-ish. Me, female 18-ish. Ex, significant other 19-ish. Okay. This happened shortly after the campaign began, and my ex was already acting a problem character. He was playing a dragonborn rogue, and was just overly gross for the majority of the game, such as begging to roll how many dicks his character has, and role-playing exactly how they worked. I have no idea why the DM allowed this to happen. It came out to him having about 7, and they were all tentacle-like. Sure, I've seen enough hentai to know where this is going. Think eldritch beast coming out of his crotch type of thing. Yeah, exactly. Eventually, I got sick of their actions in-game and out of game. So I break up with him and kick him out of my apartment, forcing him to move out of state and abandon our D&D. You got broken up with and lost your place to live because of your hentai obsession. This is a great... Our DM decided that was open season on killing off his character. And she decided that she was going to kill him off using a magical STD that made it so these dick tentacles would crawl inside of him and up his throat, choking him to death. She then made a magical weapon out of his pieces and gave it to me, calling it the cat of 9 dicks. Wait, there were 7 dicks, though. This can't be real. After she spent half a session describing this and forcing me to take his mutilated body, part of my very recent ex's character, she acted confused as to why I didn't want to be a part of her campaign anymore, and she believed she was doing me a solid. Is this real? If this really happened, everybody here deserves an award. You are the most dysfunctional people on the planet. I don't know what to say about odd. This is just weird, you know. If some people are just broken. I don't know what else to tell you. Yeah. Feel free to chime in on this one. Anyhow, we'll move on. All right, let's do. Your character has to be a virgin. Long, damn it. This account's probably going to be a throwaway, but here we go. Content warning, NSFW. Oh. So, when I was 18, it had just become pandemic season, and while I enjoyed TTRPG, I couldn't exactly go to a comic shop and find a group. I tried to join a game online. I didn't know NSFW roleplay existed either, and this was my first introduction into that realm. Yeah, welcome to the dark side of the Force here, where people invite unwilling strangers into their sexual fantasies. I was looking for some Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition games online, and I went through a few ads. Most of them were closed, but this one guy, he wanted a one-on-one game, and when I first spoke to him, he seemed normal enough. He did make sure I was 18, though, just asked, "Are you 18?" And I said, God, man, grammar, come on. Yes, and he said, "Okay, this campaign has NSFW elements in it." I assumed he meant blood and gore, but I was quickly proven wrong. See, these strange people online trying to trap you into their own little fetishes. So the first thing he explains is that this world he made up is under attack, and the evil forces of an eldritch entity are eating it. Only the chosen one can rise up and defeat it with the help of his maid. Okay, I told him I didn't want to play a maid, and he told me that was okay, I could play what I wanted. I got to work and drafted a kind of rough character. My dumbass 18-year-old self thought of this. My character was the bad girl archetype. She was a dark elf who escaped the Underdark and hung out in taverns doing adventuring jobs to get by. She was being hunted by her mother and sisters so they could punish her for not worshipping Lolth. She kept a low profile, but liked to have a bit of fun sometimes. So, okay, the old dark elf bad girl with a heart of gold. And he was like, great, my character is going to be the chosen one and the human husband of your character. So the DM is writing themselves into the story as the husband of the other player. I'm sure this is not going to go anywhere bad. We will have one legitimate child he loves and another illegitimate child he hates. Meanwhile, your character loves both kids. I thought he meant she'll have her own child from a different marriage that she loves and he doesn't love, and another legitimate child with her that he loves. At this point, I was a little weirded out, so I said, okay, yeah, what about the story? And he said, well, my character would see yours trapped by your mother and sister as you try to escape the Underdark and then save you from them. Naturally, I had a few questions. 1, she escaped the Underdark a while back and works as an adventurer. 2, when would she have her illegitimate child if she immediately was rescued from the Underdark? He made sure to clarify, no, she doesn't. He has an illegitimate child from another woman and one with her. I was confused, so he doesn't love his own child, to which he replied, yes, it's a choice he made to hate that child. I'd like to pause for a moment to sink it in your head how messed up this is and know it gets worse. Okay. So I told him, wouldn't it make more sense if it was her kid, like from a different father? She's hundreds of years older than him. She does like bad boys and probably slept with a few partners. I think it would be cool if she had a child that was half drow, half fiend, so she's a painted hussy. That made him really, really angry. He said, unless your character is a virgin, he wouldn't save her. He'd let her die at the hands of her mother and sister. He's not saving a hoe. If she's not a virgin, he wouldn't talk to her. So, I'm going to jam this fucking red pill down your throat, god dang it. So I said, why would she be a virgin? She's been alive for at least 200 years. And she has a type, which wouldn't be hard to find. Then, man, that's unforgiving. 200 years, you can't even catch a dick, man. Then he got even more angry and said something similar to, no, I'm putting my foot down. She's going to be his drow maid. This is all imaginary, by the way, people. Yeah. She's going to be his drow maid wife and nobody else's. Okay. See? Oh, man. Just get out of there, girl. That's immediately just like, what have I done to myself here? I've got to leave. It was around then he revealed he planned to explicitly roleplay his character, taking mine, and I was not expecting that. I can do not safe for work roleplay now, but back then I didn't know it existed, and I definitely didn't want him taking control of my character. She had a personality who was basically erasing that and god-modding her into his obedient servant. Yeah, you're just forced to play in his own little fucking weird sexual fantasy. You might think I left the campaign then and then. You didn't? Which I probably should have done. Yes. Probably when it was one-on-one. The second he said, no, you have to be a virgin, like, okay, I'm done. But I was desperate enough to try and save this, so I asked him if I can invite a friend or two, and he surprisingly agreed with me. But it got worse, and I think I'll save that story for a part 2. Are people this hard up for dungeon masters? Like, maybe I should be dungeon mastering for money online. That's crazy. That is all kinds of crazy. You have no need to ever put up with any of that. That's just nuts. If that situation arises ever, if somebody's, the second that they're like, I want to play this character and I'm going to be your husband, and you're in a one-on-one or like one DM, one player adventure, like this is going weird. Just call it a day at that point. Block them and move on. Right? This is a weirdo. You need to work on your weirdo radar, because this one lights up all kinds of red flags. All right, I think we'll call it in for now. That was kind of fun. There's some weird motherfuckers out there, man. I don't know. What would you do? What would I do? Like somebody, I mean, I think frankly, this is a dude that tries to prey on girls, or at least be situationally, emotionally abusive, right? Just a weird bastard, right? Girls, you don't have to put up with that shit. There's plenty of fucking decent dudes DMing and even, girls DMing. Don't put up with that shit. Just fucking bail on that shit and just tell them straight up, you're a weird motherfucker. Leave me the fuck alone. Go see a shrink or something. Anyhow, we'll call that a day. That was fun. I might have to do this again. It's weird how many fucking crazy people there are on some of these. You got to wonder if they're real stories. They're so nutty, right? Although I do like the cat of nine dicks. That's funny. That's genuinely funny. And the guy wanted to roleplay a fucking overfiend. That's great. Alright, peace out, y'all.